welcome to the Quipster Film Review Podcast. My name is Vince Leo. I am the film critic for the website Quipster.net. I'd like to thank you for listening. I hope that you enjoy the review. If you do, I do encourage you to click the subscribe button, and you'll continue to get all of my reviews downloaded into your podcast player all throughout the year. Also, don't forget, I do written reviews, and you can read over 3,800 of them on my website. Quipster.net is where to go. QWIPSTER.net. Today I'm going to be looking at a drama that's out in a very limited selection of theaters in the United States. It's called Little Men. It's a PG-rated release because of thematic elements, smoking, and some language, and it runs an hour and 25 minutes. Greg Kinnear is the star, along with Jennifer Ely, Theo Taplitz, Paulina Garcia, Michael Barbieri, and a small role for Alfred Molina. The director is Ira Sachs, who also co-writes a screenplay along with Mauricio Zacharias. In Little Men, we follow a 13-year-old, artistically gifted but fairly introverted kid named Jake, whose therapist mother, Kathy, played by Ely, and actor father Brian, played by Kinnear, relocate from Manhattan to Brooklyn when they take over the abode of their recently deceased father that Brian barely spoke to at the end of his life. The properties that they inherited also contain a modest dress shop that's run by a middle-aged Chilean immigrant named Leonor, played by Paulina Garcia. Leonor has a son, Tony, around the same age as Jake. Tony quickly befriends actor-in-training Jake, but difficulties arise between the two families when the lease on the shop is found to not exist, and a major readjustment to the very low rent that Leonor had been paying to the grandfather is proposed to keep up with the skyrocketing property prices in the radically changing Brooklyn neighborhood that they reside in. As I mentioned, Ira Sachs is the director and the co-writer. He earned some critical looks with his previous outing, this older same-sex couple struggling to make it in Love is Strange. Little Men continues Sachs' exploration on a much younger bond of friendship between two young teen boys caught in the middle of a financial struggle between a woman just making enough to get by and a couple who could also use the money to help stay afloat on basically one income. There are no villains in this piece, but plenty of attempts to persuade that end up going wrong, as everyone in this film begins to show an unseemly passive-aggressive side. They hope to resolve things in a calm and easy fashion, but the only option seems to be to try to stop communicating to one another. Other than a refreshingly novel idea to build a story around, the strengths of Little Men lie in the quality of the cast, especially in the introduction of the two young actors, Taplitz and Barbieri, for whom this film represents their first work in a feature film. Hard to believe given their terrific performances here. Their friendship comes quickly and naturally, with each partner in it balancing out the other's weaknesses. One would gather from what we see in this movie that they would likely be friends for life if they were given the chance. Unfortunately, the feuding parents make their bond something that may rely on external factors to continue. It doesn't seem like it's going to last very long, going the rate that they're going. Although the contract is presented as merely a business matter, it soon turns into a personal conflict before the first conversation is even over. Now, while the story may seem slight to build a feature film around, it is nevertheless a story that's very well told, with many memorable aspects to admire, from the fine-tuning of the characterizations, the solid locale work, the presentation of a difficult dilemma to ponder over that many of us have no doubt experienced in our lives. This erosion of the bonds between friends, between families, that encompasses gentrifying communities like Brooklyn that occur when money is in the equation. It ruins so many relationships, both strong and emerging. The grandfather could never raise the rent on Leonor because, as she relates to Brian, that he loved her. It's not discussed whether that love had been platonic or romantic, but the new tenants, who don't have that deep-seated affection for Leonor, think that their new offer is more than fair considering what the going rate is for properties such as hers in Brooklyn these days. Now, she won't even look at the number that they offer her. She gathers that the love and the will of the grandfather, even though he's deceased, should continue to take precedence in the situation. The sting of the financial hardship that she feels pales to the bruising of the pride that comes from the asking. In another context, Little Men also shows the difficulties of trying to earn a living as an artist of any sort, whether an actor, a painter, or a designer of dresses, and the financial obstacles to success that are often in play in the lives of those who seek to create to earn a living. They're immense, especially in a city that's as expensive to live in as New York. And this speaks to how there's really little monetary value placed on things that can provide great meaning to many, like art and like craftsmanship. But those are not really valued as much as, playing the stock market or things that don't really contribute a lot in and of themselves, basically a glorified way to gamble. Or you could take on yet another layer, because this is a very multi-layered kind of movie, that Little Men is also about the struggle to make life decisions as a parent, especially ones that end up providing a hardship to one's children, such as a sudden relocation, as we see in this movie, or the potential separation from the only strong friendship their child has ever known. The stress of economics spurs on the difficult and delicate dance that we, as people, all try to dance around. We try to put on our best face, and we hope that the person on the other side will understand that money is wanted and needed by pretty much everyone in this society, and that's why it's asked for, even if the asking of it will eternally be an emotionally erosive topic to bring up to those that we care about. I'm giving 3.5 stars out of 4 to Little Men. I do think that even though this film will probably be deemed by some people who watch it as something that is not really talking about a lot, if you really peel back the layers, you will see that this is a very multifaceted film and does speak a lot to the kinds of things that happen in gentrifying communities. Basically, friendships, family, whole communities are being divorced from one another because the people that remain there often can't afford to stay in the area when their rent goes up in accordance with the amount of demand that's out there. And that leaves a lot of fractured friendships, fractured relationships, people not getting along. It becomes a very bitter experience for all involved. 3.5 stars for Little Men. Thanks everyone for listening. I hope that you did enjoy this review. Don't forget to click the subscribe button. And if you've been listening for a while and you want to support the show, the best way you can do that is to leave a review on iTunes or go to patreon.com/Quipster and leave a contribution. All of that helps the show find the audience that I'm seeking for it and will help it continue to be healthy and striving in this economic environment, so I don't have to continually ask for money and potentially cause a rift between me and my audience like the one that you would see in Little Men. And don't forget, if you want to write to me, you can do so by going to my website, finding my contact information. That's quipster.net, QWIPSTER.net. And while you're there, add me on your Twitter and your Facebook accounts, and you'll always know when I post a new review.